In this video I'll go over things I dislike about the Mimic. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome back to another video. In this video I'll go over what I dislike about the Mimic, or in general referring to their community, Discord etc., and some of the things you guys don't like in the Mimic as well. Just to clarify, this video is not meant to hate the devs in any form or way. So don't take it seriously. The very first thing I dislike about the Mimic is the community. Well, you guys might think, what's something I hate from it? Well, this doesn't apply to everyone in the community, only a handful, but it's them pressuring the developers or criticizing them. The devs have put so much time and effort just to give us what we want, and you can probably guess what they get in return. Criticism. If you check on Discord or Roblox, Ditch is always online in the Roblox studio. I don't know if he leaves his laptop or PC on, but I respect him and the developers for the effort they put into the game. If you compare the Mimic when it first came out, the quality of it was way more terrifying compared to other horror games you see on Roblox, and it was more consistent as well in some way, I guess. But also some Roblox horror games are just too dark, or their last proper update was a while ago, so you would have to find another game to play. No hate to the other horror games, by the way. The second thing I dislike about the Mimic is the Monsters Hitbox. For the people that don't know what I mean, since it's not a shooting game, it is the distance between you getting killed by a monster. I don't know if it's fixable or not, but the distance for the Monsters Hitboxes are sometimes extremely crazy. This might make some lanterns more difficult than it already is to obtain it. Or could it be purposely designed for some monsters, or the internet connection problem? Either way, it's still infuriating to die to a monster that is not even close to you at all. The third thing I don't really like in the Mimic is their performance mode. If you don't know what that is in the Mimic, it reduces the detail of buildings, textures of the floor etc. I don't really like this, since this option is only in Book 2, so Book 1 and the game modes don't have this feature. This may be a problem since not everyone has the money to buy a good device to play with. I've been through this problem before I got my laptop. Playing on the lowest graphics while lagging isn't fun at all, especially if it's a game that contains a lot of detail. Mainly horror games. That enhances the player's experience. Hopefully the developers have time to add performance mode to every other chapter and game mode in the near future, so people with low-end devices can enjoy the experience. The fourth thing is the bugs inside the game. Yeah, I do know that every game has bugs, but I have been playing Roblox quite for some time, like around 6 to 7 years ago, and the games I used to play had no bugs at all from my memory. But this game, the Mimic, had the most bugs I've seen in a Roblox game. Monsters would get stuck in certain areas, kind of ruining the experience. You would have monsters teleporting in your face without any of their presence etc. The fifth thing has got to do with their Discord server. They had to remove a couple of text channels since their server was getting a bit too big. I am pretty sure that's what a moderator or a developer said, but I can't find the actual message of them saying it. This may be a problem since they removed party finding, where you can recruit teammates. Some of you might be thinking just play with other random people in the server, but there is a problem with that. Almost a lot of people don't really try helping, so they just sit there letting the others do the work, or they just leave. Now, a couple of days ago, I released a poll which I asked you guys, what things do you guys dislike about the Mimic? It could be about the community, their Discord, or the game. A guy on Roblox and a couple others had similar statements. I feel like the lantern skin isn't enough for all the hard work, like they should have something like a special ability. Stranger said, what I dislike is that some lanterns barely emits a bright light, although you put your effort on nightmare mode to get it. To be honest, I agree with these statements. Grinding, dying over and over and encountering lots of glitches in the Mimic is extremely frustrating to deal with. Just imagine you finally get a nightmare lantern just for it to work exactly like the basic lantern with over 2 million people having it without putting any effort into it. Having special abilities for receiving a nightmare lantern would make it more rewarding. For example, maybe the Mia lantern, since it was difficult to obtain, it could have a slow health regenerating ability, enhancing the player's speed, giving the player extra stamina, reducing the amount of stamina used when sprinting, or just maybe the small chance of not dying to a monster when held out. This could make Nightmare maybe more engaging since there are probably people out there who do not waste their time on obtaining a useless cosmetic which doesn't feel different to the starting lantern or candles. Frying Gamer had a couple of points written in his comment, but there was 3 points that stood out shining for me. The first one is, the boss fight. It doesn't really feel like a boss fight, you just fight when she screams, which doesn't happen that often. That's something which I realized now. When the Mimic was announcing their first boss battle out, everyone was hyped up since this was something completely brand new in the Mimic. But now if I think about it, it loses its frightening atmosphere when engaged in the boss battle, possibly because it's a bit too bright so you can see almost everything and what's ahead of you. Or perhaps almost every game with a main villain has a boss battle, making it repetitive. The only thing I can think of to make the boss battle is to add mini games in the middle of the fight so it can maybe give the fear or anxiety back to players. The mini games I was thinking of were, tag. You get to hide in closets, behind counters, or under desks similar to the Ringmaster's game he was playing with. Or have unexpected hallucinations. For a quick second you could get a vision of the monster's past or maybe an unprepared jump scare. The second one is, Tokito not changing. I don't know why this annoys me so much. Since this jump scare is the only monster that has a jump scare box compared to Chapter 1's, 2, 3, 4 and Book 2 Chapter 1 and is the only monster without a new remodel or a jump scare. The third thing that stood out for me is his fourth point, Kusonoki and Duality lanterns still have their old models. I mean, Frying isn't wrong, the lanterns are pretty outdated since almost every monster got a revamp. It doesn't look really well with the chapters now. If you take a look at the Kusonoki lantern compared to the monster, the face doesn't match, and also the newly modeled Kusonoki has like bells on it and my man has a whole set of teeth. Also, if you take a look at the spirit lantern, it has a random white butterfly inside the framing. Personally, if I was one of the developers, I would probably make it just a large glowing butterfly in the player's hand instead. This is all I have for today's video. Thanks for sticking till the end. Bye.